Greetings, Benjamin J. from Ben's Trains with another in the series. Well, it's been an hour since I poured that lens into the 999, so I just wanted to do a follow-up on this. Now, this is the result. As you can see, we have a replacement lens that is domed and looks almost exactly the same as the original lens, with the exception of it was free. Now, like I said, you go on eBay to buy a lens, they're $4, $7, depends on who you're buying it from. But in this case, you just set the locomotive up on end, mix some 5-minute epoxy, pour it in there with a piece of tape over the back of it so the epoxy can't escape. Let it set for about 4 minutes. If you want it domed in the front, you just wait till just before it cures, and you can add one more drop of epoxy and it'll cure rounded, just as you see. So it makes a good domed lens. It's really simple to do this. Best of all, it doesn't cost anything. So let's take this around so you can see it in operation. And as you see, it works absolutely perfectly. So we'll just let this run around. And there is the result. You have a lens in your 999 that didn't cost you anything. And it only takes a minute to do this. Actually, it takes 5 minutes to do it. Like I said, you just put a piece of blue tape, masking tape, painter's tape, on the inside of the locomotive to keep the epoxy from escaping, and then just mix your 5-minute epoxy and pour it into the hole. Now, the nice thing about this is it will work on any locomotive. Any locomotive that's missing its lens, you can just pour one in there. And so like on the 400 or the 490 that never had a lens, it works just as well on that. Virtually any lens or any locomotive that doesn't have a lens, you can make one really, really quickly. And as you see, this looks virtually identical to the original lens. It's non-removable, it's permanent, it's going to last virtually forever. It's not going to get lost, it's not going to get loose, it's not going to discolor, it's not going to crack or break. It's going to last virtually forever. 100 years from now, that lens is going to be in there. And it's really simple to do this. Like I said, you stand it up on end, put a piece of tape over the back of the locomotive so the epoxy can't escape. Fill the hole with epoxy and then wait about 4 minutes. If you want it domed, just before it really starts to set, put one more drop on the top and it will actually solidify rounded, as you see. And it makes a really, really effective and instant lens that doesn't cost anything. It's really, really easy to do this. And it looks nice. And it's never going to wear out. It's never going to get lost. And like I said, it'll work with any locomotive. You have the 400 or the 490 that just has an open hole. You can just put a piece of tape over the back, fill that open hole with epoxy, and you have an instant lens. So it's been about an hour since I posted the first video when I poured this. And then after it sat for about 10 minutes, I pulled the tape off and then ran it on the bench for about 5 minutes so that light bulb would actually heat the metal. And that really accelerates the curing process. And by tomorrow, this lens will be just as hard as standard plastic lens. But the nice thing about it is it's non-removable. It's never going to come out of there. So you don't have to worry about ever losing a lens out of a 999. It's never going to crack. It's never going to break. It won't discolor. And best of all, it's going to last virtually forever. And it doesn't cost anything. This works really, really well. And it's really simple and easy to do it. And it'll work with any locomotive, not just Marx. It'll work with anything. Broken lenses, missing lenses. It's a really simple expedient to replace a lens, or repair one for that matter. It works. It's really, really simple. And it doesn't cost anything. Now, this is that 999 I made out of parts a couple of days ago. And it just seems really redundant to make a locomotive out of parts and then spend $4 or $7 to replace the missing lens. And of course, without that lens, you just have an open hole. And so it only takes a minute to really improve the looks of this locomotive, or any locomotive, just by pouring that epoxy lens in there. And as you see, it looks quite good. It looks virtually identical to an original lens. So anyway, I just want to do a quick video on this. It works. 5-minute epoxy and a piece of blue painter's tape. Put tape over the back of the hole in the bezel. Make sure it is good and snug so the epoxy can't leak out. Fill that bezel full of epoxy. Wait about 4 minutes, and if you want it rounded, like I said, just before it sets, add one more drop and it will actually cure with a rounded surface. As you see, this looks virtually identical to an original lens. And the nice thing about it is it doesn't cost anything and it is permanent. So, just a quick video. Just want to do a follow-up on this. It works. It's really simple. Only takes a few minutes to do it. It's going to last forever. And best of all is it doesn't cost anything. It's absolutely free. And you have the satisfaction of knowing you did it yourself and you saved yourself $4, $7. It works. It works really, really well. Anyway, I just want to do a follow-up video so you can see this running in the locomotive. So by tomorrow, this is going to be solid as standard plastic. Excuse me. So it works. It looks nice. It doesn't cost anything. Like I said, you have the satisfaction of knowing you did it yourself. So just want to do a follow-up video. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop me an email. BENZTRAINZ@gmail.com. And as always, thank you for watching.